Lam Rim Nyamlin Che Sedi, Nyamlin Chebala, Nyamlin Che Sedi, Karit Senang Jugi, that's all Jugi Sim, Kiwi Cholia, Danche, Kiwi Chola, Comiadi, Nyamlin Chesigua, Sina Denigi, Sim Kiwi Chola, Son, Com Danche, Comiala, Jugi, Lapcanti, and the Kiwi Shin. That didn't come Gure said that the Negation Ben must catch Moshuinza, that Gavation you come to Kazan Anzuki Gavation you come to Koshiro. That Gavation you come to Gure says the Koshiro.
Good evening to everyone. We're looking in the Lam Rim, the stages for the graduated stages of meditation to the attainment of enlightenment. And when one is engaging in these meditations that lead progressively to the attainment of enlightenment, what is it meant by practice? Well, in brief, practice is to familiarize oneself to virtuous minds, to cultivate ever stronger familiarity or habituation to virtuous minds. So this is what is meant by Lam Rim practice, or practice in the graduated stages to enlightenment. And in order to be able to cultivate ever stronger virtuous minds, one needs a guide, a spiritual teacher. And thus, the need for a spiritual teacher is so crucial. So for the last few weeks, we've been looking at the manner in which to cultivate the mind of relying on a spiritual teacher.
Yenji kukur wada yenji mewache nga zuki chike bine chike karela wa ine igiro shinada chamnada sheinada karine chike zemore nada lapkan yenji mena ane sosugi yenji matembaji jangbana ane je yapo chik chadu mere dine za karine lapkan yenji yapo kukur wa tina dinashin nga zuki samlo tone samlo geyu chola samlo yapo tayada nga zuki nyomomba Geshe mewa suyadile gane mewa suyukore samlo gane tangugo mrese denige lapken yen koyari gechimbo chagore desan gewi shin tensugi gechimbo resade kimzendirwa.
The need for a teacher is something that is found throughout society. Whatever skill one wants to develop, especially if one wants to get beyond the beginner stages, one needs a skilled guide. So if one wants to learn whether it's a particular skill for work or academic subject, or if it's something for enjoyment such as a sport or dancing, one can only get so far if one relies on oneself alone to try and develop one's skills. But if one wants to become proficient, if one wants to become talented in a particular skill, one needs someone who already has cultivated such a skill themselves to guide one. In other words, if we try on our own to develop a new skill, we certainly will progress, but we're not going to develop very far. We'll be quite limited in what we can achieve. And all the more so with trying to transform our way of thinking, trying to transform lifetimes of habitual ways of thinking. This is something that we have very little experience of, and we are in desperate. We crucially need to. It's crucial that we rely on someone who is skilled in both knowledge and experience in how to first identify and develop virtuous minds, as well as how to identify and eliminate destructive emotions, afflicted minds. So therefore, relying on a spiritual teacher is of particular importance.
Ina and Penny Yobatan, and the Mademba ina Sosolia and the John Chiraguba, do Jevachi, and the Givishin in the Sosolaria, and Yundempa, Mahatulia Lapche, and the Nigger Sosolan that the Yundel Lapche, this and the Givishin designing to Lobjom, which here Ravati, Givishin in the Gajin Jada. That the name and the Givishin and the Gyun, the Nigger, Gyun Topic, that some of the Guinea Mays and some those Pajeva Chene, that Gomyazodi, that give you Kusung Tusum, you identity, Tehenia, Devajadi, Devadira, Chesan Devajan Sidu, Kusung Tusum, you identity part or the Yaporesha, some big, some of the some died water.
Last week we also looked again at the meditation that one engages in to cultivate the mind of relying on a spiritual teacher. And we looked at the 5 steps of the meditation, which starts with engaging in analytical meditation on the benefits of relying on a teacher and the great loss that will follow if one rather goes it alone. And the second step of the meditation was to using analytical meditation, to see that when faults appear to our mind, faults in the teacher appear to our mind, that these are rather a ripening of our own afflictions, our own distorted ways of thinking, and that the teacher himself is free of such faults. And therefore to train our mind in developing a mind of restraint that doesn't believe in these mistaken appearances, but recognizes them as rather opportunities to eliminate our own afflicted minds. And then the third step of the meditation was to meditate on the many qualities of the teacher, and approaching this through seeing his qualities in terms of the higher training of ethics, the higher training in concentration, and the higher training in wisdom, or through reflecting on the qualities of his body, speech, and mind. And through this analytical meditation, developing strong faith in our teacher. And when the mind of faith arises, hold that single-pointedly. And the fourth step of the meditation then was to reflect on the kindness of the spiritual teacher, and doing so effectively leading to the minds of respect and humility towards our teacher arising, and then holding that too single-pointedly.
And me pajo de Geshe Vadila and Gorsore Tavares and Piki Chestang Marvalia Yapushi, Choran di Chevro Labine, Lobden Chevane, Midile Ichimena, and Anzuki Kuela Nasin in Chestang Marva. Or Dinajin Anzuki Genros in Alabra Gena, Chila Pangarina, Dele Ichiro Japo, Ichi Tembuch Mena, Dilaba Nasin Anzuki Kushe, Yedelia, Capuchigorova. Or Dinajin. That give you de la Yangazo, Gom Yamlin Chelia, the Nelopton Chicken, the easy tempo Mevana, once you are that when they love in that manner, Canina, some big easy tempo, the Nick Doposana, didn't Dilava Nashing at the Yamlin Jimbarwa, just that easy tempo Jango, but you send the Deva Jango, said, you send the Regas and Deva Tempo Javaina, Lama Digi. Dampo Digum, Niba Digum, Tene Comgo, Dinyam Chevas and Yamlin Masonati, each Deva Tempo Chevena, and the Delia, and Kosuba Nashing on the Yamlin Chiro, Lalan Dairova, Tene Lalan Tabena, Sosugula, and the Yamyon Saja, Topacula, Chagorova, Teneza Ichi Jango said, Lama Deva Jango, Gumsen did it.
So the third step of the meditation was to meditate on the qualities of the teacher, and to do so as to lead to the generation of strong and stable faith in the teacher. So why is faith so important? Well, to understand it, we can think in general in society. If there's someone whom we don't particularly know, or we do know and we don't have much regard for them, and they give us some advice, even whether that advice is correct or not, because we don't trust them, we're not likely to be receptive to what they have to say. We're not likely to be influenced by what they have to say. So this is the case in the world. It's certainly the case in places of learning as well, such as schools and universities and places of work too, that if one doesn't have trust in the person who's leading one or guiding one or imparting information, one is not going to be very receptive to what they have to say. And this is certainly the case then in terms of spiritual development. when a teacher is imparting the Buddha Dharma, presenting a topic and explaining how to cultivate this topic in one's mind, so presenting the information and then the various stages of the meditation on that information, how to cultivate it within one's mind. If one does not have a trust and faith in the teacher, one is not going to be very receptive to what he has to say. And this then means that one is much less likely to actually follow that advice, to learn the topic, and then engage in the meditations as described repeatedly over a sustained period. And that means, due to the lack of faith, the realizations that would have followed from following that advice, one is not going to experience. So therefore, having faith in someone means that the closer we are to them, the more likely we are to be influenced by their advice and integrate their advice into our practice.
nanda deva jangure sunyo de deva de la yang ane nga zo mong de se chi da ane chi ke shibe deva se chi ni yong gore da mong de lam na gyumche ga ya ha mo ja di ya gore sam de ji gyune de ne ke chi ke so su ge ni su da di lam ge ni su da ane yuen de da ga ya ha mo go che ane o di ya gore sam de wa de la de chi ge 지기진의 밤에는 규바이나 지 약고 대바 제고라서 어디 미 대바 제고라고도 되네자 대바를 제고라서 대고래 삼대바이나 이 몽대로 제고래 몽대서 자 라말이야 아니 라미기 롭당 마저 롭정 간에 간서 제기도 라말이야 연된 간에 두 제사 라미기 아니 투유 연대 아니 지게 라버섬 연대 간에 두 제바제 지사다디 대가서 라미 냠는 치료가라 네 제홈 송도 제사 디네자 때나 판도 간의 용도 마된 바이나 가능한들 경간을 사기도 제사 된 바이나 라미기 라메 양아도 최송도 간의 송구도 아니가 라마 코로로 연된 간의 두지 심주 제제 라마야 아니 연된 여바 아니 그지게 추름이 냠는 여바다 딩이제 냠는 여바로 아니 셔럽이 냠는 여바로다 아니 지금 안지게 라바스 킨데니 킴베인데 제외 소소리아 마 라메기 최송어도 내가서야 제와다 팬비치도 송겨봐 누지는 가서 심주체네데네 야 제바치 라메기 연데데 야통 안에 라메기가 최송야 되게 양내 양도 송정아 최슈데 되네 양아서 게디 침보해봐 삼주도 전에 제바제제 라메기 구송 투기 연데다 라메기 현재 뉴스 연데데 되는도 제바제도 도 여바 하고네 안데 만에라 라마데 야고 슈제샤도 되네도 진짜 라미딩 안 줄래 제와 되는 라고도 배 약 판도 심보 쇼래 진짜 배 약고래샤 선배 대바디 내 대바 땜부 채고로 신의 대바스 라미기 연년디게 하고제 대바기 오래 되니게 대바디 도와요 말에 미션다지 오다디 라마델지 규제 교나 대바지 지금 눌랍네 오다 대바지나 지 라마 연데 되네 노트요면 되네 두세데 대바디 땜부샤고래 대시 몽데서 김쟁가 야마상와제 약고래서 되거든 미시기엔 규주에 제제 라마델 되네 규인데네 요스 규주에 제반 남서 오간에 있나스면라 라마를 도와 대바디 봐 도야게 닝가 용걸 예자 되네 인자 다성도 신유 검수의 때마들 당보 제검전의 신인들도 공부를 해서 윤자로 디래
The mind of faith can be divided in differing ways. So we can say there are differing ways to divide faith, different classifications. So one we can look at is classification into two, where we talk about blind faith and faith of knowledge, or faith that is knowledge-based. So blind faith is a faith that has come about not independent on reasoning, but perhaps because of what we accept due to our society or people that we generally trust, such as our parents say, and based on such statements, one readily has faith in a teacher, and perhaps because of a teacher's great reputation, merely based on what others are saying, we accept that he has all these great qualities that others are praising him for. So such a faith isn't based on reasons that, or logical reasons that have been developed in meditation. So such a faith is a particularly weak and unstable faith that doesn't lead to much qualities on its own. The second type of faith, knowledge-based faith, that is very different. This is a faith that has come about through analytical meditation based on knowledge, where one, in this context, meditates on the qualities of the teacher. So meditates on, for example, his qualities of the higher training of ethical conduct, his qualities of the higher training of concentration, his qualities of the higher training of wisdom. And through analyzing, coming to see the strength of these qualities that he possesses, a very different type of faith from blind faith arises. This is a faith that is powerful and stable. It's a faith of knowledge. Furthermore, one can meditate on his other qualities, such as his qualities of wisdom, his qualities of love, his qualities of compassion, and thereby come to understand that everything he does is motivated so as to benefit beings. And due to wisdom, he's skillful in his means to benefit others. And so, through not just merely reciting such statements, but through investigating, analyzing to see if such statements are valid or not, and if so, how so, one comes to develop faith that is not based in knowledge. And this is stable and powerful. And such a faith is a faith free of doubt with regard to the quality that has been meditated on. And this means one will not be able to be adversely influenced by harmful friends. If others do not see one's teacher in the same light and say disparaging things, one will not be influenced by what they have to say, because of the stability and power of this faith that is based on reason. So this is why faith should come about independent on analytical meditation, not just a mere acceptance. And therefore, in the first few steps, the steps of cultivating the method to rely on a teacher, primarily based on analytical meditation.
Dedar member sa Lama la Gyando wi ko ne nyeme so chena ni ne sang du zi yu da Lama nga ju ba so le di ba gang le che wa xie ba di ba chi wi di ba xie yu sa da dan da la nga zu kha sa Lama la ku song tu yu yuan den jian jie Lama le ba de ba zi ju che che Lama ya du sin de ba che gong gu res che sa 소소기 남되게 라마디 네 소소라 그린 침보 임바다 달라마디 상유 공무에서 공부에서 손로와 다디네자 디네 마콤바제 라마시 띠 라메 띠엔선이야 라마라 주균제다 라마야 아니 중요라시 무서야다 디네기 제바이나 아니 디네 제바나 아니 디바치 모사고래 제레다 니 임바디는 베지가와 송여는 상유 상두베 제기나래 송여래 디네 라마가 주바세 베지나 다도다 땡주 망보나래야 아니 라마 띠엔수 띠엔제 디네 안델야 라마라 균제지야다 아니 지게 니주지야다 디네 제바나 디바치 모사게 돼서.
So that concludes the summary of what we've looked at up to this point. So now we return to the text, so on the 12th page, the last paragraph. It is taught in the root text of the Guru Samaja Tantra and in Ashwagosha's 50 verses on Guru devotion that there is no graver negativity than saying or believing that your spiritual teacher has faults. So as we've heard previously in the summary now, one needs to meditate on one's teacher's many qualities, as well as his great kindness, developing single-pointed or very powerful, stable faith in one's teacher, seeing him as an emanation of the Buddha, and seeing that his kindness is incomparable, that everything he does is motivated to benefit beings. And then having generated such strong and stable faith in one's teacher, though, if one were then to get upset at one's teacher, perhaps scold him or criticize him, talk badly about him, then this is gravely negative. And that it is gravely negative is something that is said throughout the Buddha's teachings, whether in the sutras or the tantras, and again throughout the commentaries to those sutras and tantras, that to disparage one's teacher is a grave misdeed.
소수기 라마스텐제 라메델리아 안지 지게 균죄제네 균죄제 라마데 야고면도 균죄제 제외다 한 가르스므로서는 라마디살리아 최슈에게 되버지 말아 아다데 라마데 균도 라마데 야고면도 세 균죄 제외나 균죄베는 당 라마디살의 최슈메세데 최슈와 두고 말아 최마슈바이나 라마디살의 최마슈바이나 간제 소수기 디자인 마자바이나 나 소소게 롭존데 신고 말다 같이 취념len 제대 신 말봐 마시마자 되네게 마자와는 소소로 용치라고 그러봐 그래서 니주 라마라 균주 제다 니주 제바이나 라마들 취슈에게 되버들이기 말해 되버 말해바이나 라마들 취슈고 말해 취마슈바나 취기 니수디 소소라한게 념len 제대 신 말해 마시마자 소소리야 안경치 디라고라 안데 디마세 안 세델이야 라말 파드 지지도 라말야 균주지도 라말야 샘다른 부를 책으로 라마데 취슈메 라마 약문 섬이도 디기 제보들라 개와 치마이네 소설야 안 최제게 라마 라야를 깔레카 책고 깔레카 보 책으로 예지데 디네자 용으로 오시 디네 용고레스.
There are several reasons why this is such a grave fault. So if one has taken someone as one's teacher, one is a student of a teacher, but then one criticizes that teacher and disparages the teacher, perhaps directly or talking badly about him to others, then this has several results. An immediate result is, due to the negativity of one's attitude towards to one's teacher, one won't want to be in their presence. One will want to avoid them, not to be near them. This means when one's teacher is imparting the Buddha Dharma, when one's teacher is presenting the path to liberation and enlightenment, one will not have the wish to receive those teachings. One will have the wish to be somewhere else, to avoid such an encounter. And this means one's opportunity to receive the guidance in how to attain liberation will be pushed aside. And without having the receiving teachings, one will not have knowledge, the basis of practice. So in brief, if one doesn't have faith in one's teacher, and particularly if it's gone in the opposite direction where the attitude is negative, one will not receive teachings. And if one doesn't receive teachings, one's not gathering knowledge. And without a basis of knowledge, one has no basis for meditation, no basis for practice. And moreover, if one's attitude is negative, whether one expresses it verbally or physically or not, but has a negative attitude, this results in one becoming emotionally separated, distant from one's teacher. And developing this attitude of separation and distance from a being who has the potential, the ability to lead one, to guide one to enlightenment. In our future lives, it will be much more difficult to meet them or other qualified teachers because of this obstacle that has been created.
Dine zanda lamigi gyungwane ranganzulya ji tona ani dele gyunju jene je chugruwa jene digruwa sambe samlungruwa da lamigi gyungwane ro shweba na towa ina ani yuena anje gyundu sin fa gyunju jene digruwa sa di samba ina da lamigi gyungwane ro shweba ni towa na wa na sosolya 안데 량아주 삼는 가르당 거라서 어다디捐는 거데 이네 다디 라마레디捐이 말다 소소게 나와 마다비 왕기 는 거래 삼지 아 삼는 데니시 장부래제래 안에 양 라미기 최다 마틴 비기 레가지 가서 직제고를 슬라바 있나 어다 소소게 나와 마다비 라미딘 까나와로 소소게 나와 이네 라미기 까나교데 된거네데 말에 삼제 다디네 인자 디 레가디 자와 죽고요 말에스 지사 디 자와디 최다 미팅비게 라미기 자와 제고레스까지 나와네 디 자와디 두고요 막 제고요 말레스 지사 디 마제베네 디 안에 마제베네 안델야 라미가 오다 가나도 견주지나 디제나 아니 디지요 말레스 가슨 오다 라미가 나와디니 능다 소소기 견 노트 소소기 노트 쇼르데 인지리아 삼제 라마르 견유기 말레스 삼 운두스체네 로장제 아니 최다 미팅비 자와디 아니 두고 말레스 지사 디 장고레 디네 잠바이나 아니 라말이야 지금 견주에 삼로 리고 말 견주에 삼 말에나 제마야 최슈메 선배 삼로 리기 말 된자 제마야 게 최슈하고 최슈하고 갑자기 와서 지사 소설라 아니 개반되고 그래서 데네 삼다면 소설에 캡상을 렌투고 그래서 지사 아주기 dondalang 최재민의 제디 소수기 계절 야기에 따야당 소수기 녀모세디 디 don달 전거로 디네 삼다와는 소설이야 아니 녀모세야다 소수기 계절 냠는 제알이야 소설의 개편라고 와서
And then there's an important point that needs to be made here, and that is how to deal with when one does see faults in one's teacher. We are ordinary beings, we see faults all around us, and we see faults in holy beings and beings who are faultless. So here we need to handle this with skill and with care. There are two key points here to make. That when one has taken someone as a teacher and is training in seeing, in relating to them as a student to a teacher, one needs to handle the appearance of faults skillfully, reminding ourselves that the Buddha has not entrusted the leading of suffering beings, the objects of his care, to any ordinary being, but rather he has appeared in a form and in a manner that we can relate best to. We remind ourselves that this being is free of faults. Rather, the faults that we see in him are a reflection of our own afflicted minds. And those particular faults that we are seeing are afflictions that we ourselves still dominate our minds. And that these negative traits we possess in a stronger form, and we need to eliminate these. So if one trains oneself repeatedly like this, so that naturally when negativities in others, in particular in this case one's teacher, appear in one's mind, immediately one is trained well so that one turns inwards and looks at oneself and asks, am I really free of this fault? And seeing that we are the one possessing such a fault, we rather turn our attention to eliminating our own afflicted minds. So this is a skillful way to deal with the appearance of faults in our teacher. And the second key point to make here is that if our teacher gives us advice which in accordance with our training, or in accordance with our knowledge of the Dharma, we know that this advice is contrary to the Buddha Dharma, it's not in accordance with the Buddha Dharma, then we remind ourselves that that he cannot really be meaning for us to do that. Rather, the meaning is for us to politely decline. And then with a mind that lacks criticism or looking down on him, we politely decline. And in this way, we're continuing to utilize our reason and knowledge of the Dharma as our guiding principles. And in this way, we still using knowledge and reasoning, or rely on our teacher and not make the mistake of seeing him in an unwarranted negative light. Because if one does criticize, even internally, that is likely to lead to one turning away from him and losing the opportunity to be guided in how to develop minds of virtue and abandon the minds that only lead to suffering.
Dena dagi drumdimbigi namdar lama mangbo samsumdu misolos says tungna.
Looking again at the text, therefore practice Guru Yoga as related in the biography of Lama Drontumpa without doubt or wavering.
Chisa da ngajele Lama Rim Text nga zo lo ma cha be ne ga la ya lamsa lama de ge od mi shanda di kera chimo di ya bore sa ji go wa lamsa de ya ji lama den she gyo ma le se lama samsum de me se lamsa ji ki 심주 ra ji ma che che ani mi ya go du ti ji ya bore se ji la wa sam lamsa de lama den na an de ne ge no ju chimo ngo re che re cha lama mongbo ji ge 지게 어디에 야고도 센디야 디자레 지라마테 안디 파저 야디야 라마도 지 시르 끼워 지라시 모레 디자데 디네 제베다 라마 망보라 차지 안데 지 소수기 안데 라마 꽤 망고 통한도 데네 라마레 오다 라마데 야고 민도세다 라마 견제 제야다 데네 안 망보 용구레 세상 당보 코로나 라마틴도 안데 야고제 안데 심주제 안데 지 Lama di yabu tengu res. Jisang dambo ne lama lamigi lama ya jeba gyune ma sheba she ani gangshu maju di lama yabu re labse tamji am ji ten sheba ina andi lama tingyu se ten dena lama digi an jiga gisi lama gi chöda mitun bigi jawara jeba na lami kare se ji chega che an gangsam ji lyo an je lya oda lama di dine chigidu lama de notu re shasan gyunju lumba ga chan dine yungu res jisang dine za dambo ne lama tindu kala sabsa che ne yabu che an 심주 che an jige yabu tengu uri mato lamsa an ji jigyo ma re sungunda.
So this is referring to a potential grave error that can be made, that without just being very easily influenced by what students of teachers say to you about their teacher, where they will praise their teacher and talk about his many good qualities which they perceive in him, and then based on this reputation that one hears from people in general or from his students, one rushes to the teacher, receives teachings, takes the person as one's teacher, without having investigated them, coming to know them and investigating, and then making a decision over time based on one's own analytical meditation, but rather just being impulsive, following one's emotion, being greatly influenced by the someone's reputation. Then in those cases where you take someone as a teacher, firstly, one is likely to have many such teachers, because one is going to be influenced again and again by students of various teachers, going from one place to one teacher to another, receiving teachings, accepting them as one's teacher, but not having developed powerful and stable faith in dependence on reasoning, in dependence on analytical meditation. Then, when one sees faults in them, one is going to believe in those faults, and one's going to criticize the teacher. Or if one is given advice that seems contrary to one's knowledge of the Dharma, rather than politely declining, one is going to criticize the Dharma, and in this way, criticize the teacher, and in this way, one performs great faults and accrues negativity. Once you have accepted a spiritual mentor, meditate so as not to give rise to any disrespectful or unworthy thoughts, even if your life is at stake.
kusung tu su yun ten liya shim ju che an du che an yang chi so su gi lo de yi chi ke mi gi an so so liya an du su lama ten ya ko ar de ne gi lo teng thon ne du che ne an ga sam de ne gi lama so so ge lama shim ju che de ne ya la mi gi yun ten chang de ba lama ten ba ti ten che we che la lama de liya an chi ge so su gi 강아 류 나자 강아 시에긴 갱 냥아 여바 이나양 라말야 아니 지게 야 대바 말로 라말레 대바 tembo 체나네 지삼 두스체네 니 라메 땡기 스베 라말레 데니 대바치 장긴 스베 삼로 디네 땅고 그래제래.
The meaning of this line is similar to what we've been looking at before, and it refers to a student who has followed the advice well here and has come to know a teacher and engaged in analytical meditation for a period of time, investigating the qualities of their teacher, leading to a cultivation of trust and conviction and knowledge-based faith. So such a person then, who is relying suitably in a suitable manner on their teacher, then whatever difficulties they encounter thereafter, they should never allow negative views or criticism of their teacher to dominate their mind or to be believed if they arise. So they should always, no matter what they encounter, no matter how difficult their life may be, even if they're facing a desperate situation, they should never believe such appearances or turn away from their teacher.
Tisa dini ke magube samba teni kikme lama le gyunje chea la lama le chike jin magube chea ke samlo de kyuni kichugme samjo gom gore sura dini ke samlo kyuni kichugme tisa deji sheba na shen anzu ke lami kusung tu yende na tis sam ta je lami ke soso le chue she je ke din ten je ane degui zeji du chigi sam pe sam tang gore se ruwa di ruwa.
So here where it's mentioning that one should never give rise to any disrespectful or unworthy thoughts. So this is particularly referring not to their mere arisal, but to grasping at them, believing in them. Rather, should these thoughts arise, one should immediately turn one's attention back to what one has been meditating on, which are the many great qualities of the teacher, and the tremendous kindness that the teacher shows you and others. So these then will serve as powerful antidotes to the mere arisal of any negative thoughts.
Lama Jablolia, Lama de Chichi, Ninji, Dugjas, Masha, the Gunja Chagorova. And the nigger Tomba Nakisichumena, Lamalia, Kodura, Hubena, Gunja, Lama Denisna, the Kanasi, and the Giongi, Jawada, Chetan between Bejawa Chagidu was, says that the Nichin, the Awumindua says, Ya, Shuben, Seshi Charwada, the nigger uses that the knitting Jetusa Mare Lavana. Gozangma charuwa ko gyunjes ka chego marwa ndine gi hyujin so so range an jige ngi nasule dine nangudo de chisa namal gyun yu mar de ine gi nasu din nangudo dine inza an dit lega do dine de jige chöde midin be jawaro de jetusa mares la hyubene di daba chego 가서는 gyunje chego ma ho se시로 차제 ndiroda 내가 저 gyunje 세 di 마시고지 잡로려 미세다 어데라 마데 야부면 남데 dine 저 누자 지고서 dine 마지 제된 소소 gyunje chego dine 소소게 셈려 데 아니 코를 마서나 숙철셔 두고로와 dine 인자 라마를 마가 숙체 dine 최슈야 고브라고 말해 지사 세시 제변은 세셔는 세시래 그 파 마가외 기시오마된 라메 수 마가외 기시오마디 최슈야 한적 고브라고로와 그래서 지용의 튠비게 우리 지대의 니스의 튠비게로 와지 전에지나 마리아스 가미도와.
If one does see faults in one's teacher, then it's important to apply the antidote that has just been mentioned here, not following these thoughts, holding to them, believing in them, but rather apply the antidotes. And moreover, one should guard oneself against the possibility of, in his presence, showing humility and respect, but behind his back, expressing what you really think. This is a mistake. If you have negative views that you're thinking to express, transform these. Reflect on his qualities, reflect on his kindness. Don't act in one way before him and speak in another way behind his back, because then your behavior is contrary to the Dharma. And then moreover, if one's teacher does give one instructions that due to your reasoning and knowledge you know are contrary to the Dharma, then the skillful way, the essential way to deal with that is to politely decline, to explain that you rather, thank you for the advice, thank you for the instruction, but I'm not comfortable doing this. It's against the teachings as I understand them. And that is a skillful way to deal with it. And that is the way to deal with it that would bring delight to one's teacher. If on the other hand, one says nothing goes away, tells everyone, you can't believe what was said, this is so terrible, how could this possibly be said? This is just leading to your own critical minds growing in strength. It's spreading this criticism elsewhere to others and infecting them too. And due to the strength of the criticism growing in one's own mind, this will lead to an emotional separation between oneself and one's teacher, or weakening of one's relationship. And that then leads to one not having the wish to come to teachings. Or if one comes, one's mind being closed and not receptive to the teachings. And this then will serve as a serious impediment to one's spiritual development. Now we turn the page and we got the quote from Geshe Rinpoche at the top of the 13th page, which is what's being covered thus far. The root of all causes producing happiness here and hereafter is the practice of relying in thought and action upon the sacred friend who reveals the path. Seeing this, follow him at any cost and please him with the offering of practice. I, a yogi, did this myself. You, a liberation seeker, should do likewise.
ngāshīla ngā tiki tuyā liya kāra kōgō sīna tsētē liya ngā tō sāmbā sāmbā kīyā tāng jīmbē ñamlēn chāyā tāng lūngā yīsum nyechō tūmbē tsūrim sōyā tāng an dēne kī chē bāyā na lūngā yīsum kōne nyechō tūmbē kī tsūrim sō bāyā na sōsō lī nē dewa yung kūrē an shāla yī na tiki tuyā tāng an shāla liya jamzē kī sāmbā kōmbāyā na an 이샬리아 펜버드도 소소야 디유야 지상 하시 니가라 펜데드 투야들이 안디마세 오늘 지게 세델이야나 지게 하나 주기 진배 냠네 수제 냠네 쇠배 냠네 전주의 냠네 안데라 라바 띵이지 something 냠 샤라 냠네 제바 지사상 라마를 때네 주기 연된 장투 보래 지상 데니게 세델이야 소수의 연된 개위초 삼바 상부초 게 차상 라메기 추송 될래야 냐네야도 nye ndi nye bala tene nga jugi donda de sam tene kom nyamna sam dangda chen ndi ane nga juya setele ne sosole ne pando yenden kya chimbo kya da ane ndi gi soso nyamlen jebigi setele mishan shen mida semje na ane pamba drup kya chimbo drup tuya de ya de so ane setigi ल्यासोसुरा दी ल्यासोस सेदिगी अनि पेम्बे जावा ai yabu gedi gewe yönde şenle şenbengi cewe yönde indigen sedigil yabu dile lebe sosu de leba yabu yo mangu sura le sosu sedigil le sodire.
So I'll just read a slightly different translation than of the first few lines. The root of all causes producing well the auspicious conditions for all excellences of this and future lives is to rely properly with effort, both in thought and action, upon the sublime spiritual teacher who reveals the path. So the meaning of these first two lines that we have here is that in order to achieve happiness, both in what remains of this life as well as our future lives, we ourselves have to accumulate the appropriate causes. And that is done through developing a mind of ethical conduct, developing a mind of generosity, developing a mind of patience, and so forth. And it's through these one accumulates the causes that lead to happiness in this and future lives. And these causes lead to happiness not just for ourselves, but for others too. Moreover, through cultivating minds such as loving kindness, great benefit comes to oneself in this very life as well as to others in this very life, as well as to oneself and others in future lives. And so too with the development of the mind of wisdom, this too serves to bring about great benefit for oneself and others in this and future lives. So all this, the knowledge of these practices, all the knowledge of the Buddha Dharma, of practices such as ethics and generosity and patience, loving kindness and wisdom, all this knowledge is received in dependence on the good qualities as well as the kindness of our teacher. Moreover, the knowledge in how to train in these, the spiritual instructions in how to train in this advice, in other words, how to take this mere knowledge and cultivate it in one's mind, so that one doesn't just understand what is the mind of patience, but one knows how to cultivate the mind of patience. This too, we only have due to the kindness and the great qualities of our teacher. And moreover, all the efforts that we put into our spiritual training to cultivate these minds of ethics and generosity and patience and wisdom and so forth, and all the resulting attainments that follow from this. Whilst we've had to make efforts to put this advice into practice, that advice, that skillful means, all came from our teacher, this being with such vast qualities and great kindness. So being aware of this, we come to see the vast benefit that comes for oneself as well as others, both in this life as well as throughout our stream of future lives. And this then is the meaning of these first two lines: the root of all causes producing well the auspicious conditions for all excellence of this and future lives.
Sedelia Kiwi Shin Tenje Kiwi Shin Yi and Tsurum Sungure, Jimbe Yamleche or the Nega Kalop Nashabe, Delatina Yamle Jeodu, Sedelia, Lunga Yusmi Jotim, Tsurum Sungu, and the Gewachima, Lada Miko to Yada. And Sedelia, Lamiki, and the Chige Chusung, the Yamlecheba, the Jimbe Yamle Jeodu, and Gewachima in Sosarangi, and the Chinkian Yahoya. And the Sevata, Subi, Yamna Chebe, Chigadu, and Yawachima, Sosara, Wombo Sangwata, and Chigulu, Digi, and Yahoya, and the Chigundrugi, Yamna Chigadu, and Yawachima, Chig Chuchiala, Pekawuta, Chuchi, Dunir Yahoya, and that is Sedelia, Lamiki, Lameti, Lamiki. Chige Chu, Lama, Debachi, Timba, Digi, Yawachima, Sosu, Yamlanche, Kivishin, the Yapoya, Chesa Denigi, Yamlanche, Yawachima, Sosolia, and the Chige, Ludin Yapoya, Tunge Yapoya, and the Church, Yamla Yaporadi, and the Lamiki, Setelia, Lama Timbi, Lama Latine, Timbi, Delatin Ungores, and Dimase. That the nigger said, Chima do, Yamlanche, and then Anzugulan. Topati, Yamlendi, Yara, Chinche, and getting Nimicing Arzugula, and the Chick, Korea Dunga, Treasure, and Tarbaco on Toyata, and the Dene Delean, the Chick Yar Chinche, Simje, Tam Jig Dandala Pampo Tupche, and Jachu Simki, Jachu Simki Yamlejeada. Dene Yamlejebal, Dene, Passion to win Yamlejen, and Sayuko Montoya, Tichaza, Zawal Masona, and Chick Lama, Timbala, Dene, Lamigi do, Sinanga, Lobjon Dene, Din Yamlejebal, Dene, Yungores, Jezadine. Denigi Tendel, Denigi Dambohorone, Denigi Lama Tienche, Denigi Timbigi, Yahuchi Timba della Denungo Regere.
Great benefit comes for ourselves and others in this and future lives from relying on a teacher. So it's through receiving both the knowledge of the Buddha Dharma as well as how to cultivate it within our continuum, and thirdly, the inspiration to put this advice into practice, and to do so with great effort. In other words, overcoming all obstacles to have a sustained meditation and study practice. We will transform our minds. Through meditating, through studying and meditating on ethical conduct, developing a mind, an ethical mind, we create the causes to have good rebirths in our future lives as a human or a god. Through cultivating the mind of generosity, the wish to give, We ensure that we create the causes that in our future lives we have an abundance of favorable conditions for our spiritual practice. Through cultivating the minds of patience, then in our future lives, our sense faculties, our sight and our sound, etc., will be complete and unhindered, so we don't have those obstacles in our spiritual practice. We'll easily get on with others, have harmonious relationships with whomever we encounter, and easily develop close relationships with others. And that comes from patience and from joyous perseverance. In future lives, we'll long to meet the Dharma, we'll search out the Dharma, and when we encounter it, we will want to put it into practice, to cultivate it in our minds, and to put great effort into our further spiritual development. And then through faith, through cultivating the mind of faith in this life, then that ensures in our future lives, we will with ease meet a qualified spiritual teacher. And not only meet that teacher, we'll recognize them as such, and we will rely on them. We'll want to receive teachings, we'll want to implement his advice in our own daily practice. And all these benefits of this knowledge, of how to put it into practice, and the inspiration to do so, all come about through relying on our teacher. And moreover, as one continues with this knowledge we've received and that we are putting into practice, those realizations start to bloom within us. And in this way, through this abundance of good qualities arising, not only are we experience ever greater happiness and peace, and our mind is no longer dominated by the afflictions, and we have ever greater ability to have a great impact on the lives of others, but the attainment of liberation from suffering and enlightenment itself grow ever nearer. All of these good qualities come about through us relying on our spiritual teacher, our teacher who's qualified by great kindness and numerous good qualities.
Benero Shinoro Shine Zawadi Masagala Tembu Jovena, and Shingo di Rumbugazi, Jevena, Mariba Yabutu Resirwa, or Dinajan Zawadi Tembush Kugores, Dinajan and the Kambora Kavena, Woge, Manshiti, Tembush Kavena, then Delia Kamagazi Kapna Kamba Tembu Yabu Chatugores. She's a Manshiti Tembu Mena, Kambaya Sudin, Maruya, the Kyoja Maria, and Ayungores, on Dinashi, Nazugi. 타바다 탐지 캠비게 기위 냠네 타바 탐지 캠비도 토비하게 돈달이야 냠는 제디 당보 딘지 레바지스도 냠는 제게 딘 마선 자와디 기위 신인들이지 지산디 야고지 딘바이나 델야 아니 아주 기위 자와디게 권내 권도 패기 딘디 기위 신인들 지산디 레바지스도 템부시고 당보호는 벨레야 라말야 견도가 삼마다마제 라메 구순의 연전된 델레 데바 지주진의 템부시고 그래서 데네 템부 차송바 있나 델레테네 하는 아주 연된 야야 조토 그래서 제가 강배 마시다 신도 자와 템부 여바나 디레스 지네 연자 덴제 레버 디베 자와니 람된 신연 담바 시디제자 데니긴 아주 기회 자와 개화되는 권내 권도 패기 자와디 기회신이래. 내가 약고 땜바 고수반에 약고 땜바이나 되는 소소기 롭장 약고 차야려. 아니 지고 딱다 차고래서 되게 당번에 내가 땜부지 마딘 바이나 약고 마딘 되는 롭장 약고 차투 말해서 그러죠. 되는자 기회신인데 된들 려버 뒤에 자와 봐. 나중에 기회 초양의 야를 주되电视电视早啊的给微信的的当播放的也不是什么大电波的才是。
Gardeners will know that if one wants a large plant to grow, to be strong and stable, then the seed needs to be properly planted. Similarly, if one knows with construction, if one is building a property, a home, then the foundations, they certainly need to be well laid, they need to be stable, otherwise the house is not going to remain standing. So similarly, for ourselves, who aspire for the great goals of liberation from suffering and full and complete enlightenment, a state where one has perfected all good qualities and completely eradicated all faults, such lofty goals are dependent on a stable foundation. And this foundation of all our good qualities is our spiritual teacher. If that foundation is stable, this will mean we will have an open and receptive attitude to receiving the teachings. We'll have a longing to receive the teachings, to know those teachings well, to thirdly then put them into practice, to meditate them in the way that we've been advised to do, and to do so with great enthusiasm, overcoming any obstacles that arise. And this comes about through through having a powerful and stable faith, that is the faith based in knowledge, in relation to having effectively done analytical meditation on our spiritual teacher. And with this stable foundation, all good qualities will grow in us. And those are the good qualities that lead to ever-growing skill within ourselves, greater virtue, weaker and weaker non-virtue and negativities. And this is the meaning of the lines, the root of all causes producing happiness here and hereafter, or auspicious conditions, in the fourth line, is relying upon the sacred friend who reveals the path.
ane jik dus chehda ande ne na ane beba chimbo zunju chimbo kone bezu chimbo chin lama tengu re serwa ta den de ganes tengu re na samnan jowe chujin tenbaro sedu ane jikya ane sambe kone tenbada jowe kone tenba serwa jesa sambe kone de se de an juge la mi kusung tu se yende tenbe panyen na ma tenbe yimi samda lama gi ane so so ya chue xie ba de lama gi yana yana chue xie an zu chue na wa be ya bo de se lama gi ge jin je je lama gi de ba lama le de ba ji ju ko me di sambe tin su che tang zu ki xie ba de da jowe tin se di lama gi nga zu ge 다 소수기 소소야 안 튕긴다 소수기 튕긴 주위에 당그 여바이나 라말이야 아니 연구시야래 아니 류가 유심기 그 류이고네 안 라미기 십주시야 고가 라바이나 다데네 아니 지기 데네고 고가 마라바이네 당하죠 라미기 마 냠는 두수 좀 공고를 되네 제 공고를 되네 제고를세 마까나샤교디 마 저기 냠는 제야디 제시쇼래서 다디 제단 되네 제바이나 라미기 주위고네 라마 템바데 디 제야디 베주 심보고네 냠는 제고래서 제단 때 디래서 그래.
Our third line, relying in thought and action, and then it should be with effort. So with effort is what we've just referred to beforehand. So what is meant here by with thought and action? So this refers to how one should rely on the teacher, and one should do so with great vigor. One should strive to do so. And this refers to, firstly, in thought, relying on our teacher through thought, which means reflecting on his many qualities of his body, speech, and mind, or his qualities of the trainings in ethics and concentration and wisdom, and reflecting on his great kindness, in particular through continuing to teach us, to train us, to guide us, and seeing how very fortunate we are to have this opportunity to be guided by such a skilled and qualified being. So this is how to rely on one's teacher in thought. And then relying in action refers to helping materially, making material offerings. Secondly, when one has the opportunity to respectfully serve and assist and aid one's teacher. And then thirdly, and most importantly, is to practice in accordance with his advice. In other words, the teachings that one receives, to put these into practice in the way that one has been taught. Moreover, it means to live in accordance with the teachings that have been given. In other words, to cultivate the teachings so that they permeate one's way of thinking, and one lives one's life in accordance with the teachings that one has been given.
통내 속에 치야 미동을 라로와 제 통내 속에 치야 미동을 가신주비 주변에 내버치스나 제가 통내에서도 제가 라미기 나줄이 개위 냠는 이야기 줘야 돼. 세상 라마를 때는 용거 받대 라마를 때는 때네 장치 신고받아 하고 왔지 하고 그러와 되나 하고도 라마드베 기에침보다 끄진침부 임바 삼다제 다 소소 야당에 깔려가거든가 시사를 라마 딩메서 되네 삼당교 말이지 소소 시외네 라마 시류네 라말야 대바치다 라말야 제hen지 어두스네 기디네 라마세도 셈비다 균에 마동하제 라말야 네 지게 라마대게 대바다 아니 라미게 가신 주비게 라미게 까나셔게 뒤에 아니 냠는 디시에 세야디 냠는 제야디 게침모레스 데네 제바이나 아니 가신 주베스 라미게 두스카나디 그런 디곰고레 데네 냠네 삼로 데네 장고레 스와디 아주 제바이나 데 라미 까두고레 지사 데네 까두바이자 라미 투니레스 지사 아주 라미 투니에디레스 워다 녀바체스
Seeing this, follow him at any cost and please him with the offering of practice. Or to put it slightly different, seeing this, follow him at any cost and please him with the offering of practice just as he instructs. So here, now that one has come to understand what is meant by what is meant by the practice of how to rely on the teacher, then one has now cultivated these minds within oneself. Then one should follow him at any cost, or to put this literally, one should follow him at the cost of one's life. So what this expression "at the cost of one's life" means, that no matter the obstacle that one encounters, never give up this advice, never give up this training, never abandon the teacher, never abandon any of his teachings. So in other words, follow him at any cost and please him with the offering of practice. And the offering of practice then means that the teachings one has received and the instructions in how to put them into practice, one should firstly come to know well, and secondly, do so. So in other words, study the teachings and put them into practice, and do so that they mix with one's mind. One's mind then starts to become inseparable from his teachings, because that will mean one lives one's life in accordance with the teachings that one has received or one is receiving. All one's physical actions, one's way of speaking, is motivated by minds which have been developed through following the advice of one's teacher. And this, more so than anything, delights or pleases one's teacher. And this is what is meant by please him with the offering of practice.
Number zedo sido a jermji karsun was in yama ne yamlen chidu kablia and kivishin you kusun tusun yun jeda and kivishin yen jike sosolia chu sun shabati kijin jeda tin lama jaba zechidu je lamigi diji dimai gom kane gom laba na dusun yamlen cheje lamigi kaishin dupje yamlen jeba yins jezang yamlen cheje dus jeba yins deda deni jeba yina and sosolia and jike dunga seya dan digi tubya antarpata tamjiki me ko toya de dendi yarge joya dende dus chesan deni enzam tarde labde kyonzo ina kowe dunga le tarwa dugo res chesan kowe dunga gugo mare kyonzo garenda kowe dunga le tar gugo kyonzo le digi gugo was deni enzam kowe dunga le tarche dengi dewaji togugo na doba yer dugo deni enzam kyonzo ine chiga lamigi lamalya ngi Sonam Shinche and Lamalia Debazidu Chevata, Lamigi, Gatuati, Lamigi, Yamlin DJ Suedi, Sueti, Lamalia, Debazidu, Lamigi, Sueti, Yamlin Chedi, Besu Chimbugone, and Ninse Mebadus and Besu Chimbone, Yamlin Chewures, the Nechebaina, and Sosola Yagi Tugures, and Ondu Moreche, Jeremchi Disungorda.
I, a yogi, did that myself. You, a liberation seeker, should do likewise. So Rinpoche here is concluding these two verses by saying, this, what he's presented here, is how he himself has trained. We, as those who take inspiration from him, as his students, should follow the example that he himself set. And the way he trained is that with an open mind a receptive attitude. He sought out many teachings, received these, studied them, and meditated them on the way that he was advised to do so. And in this way, he followed the advice of his teachers. This term follow advice literally is accomplished what is taught, which shows the strength of the result that came from following the teachings. Accomplishments followed. He accomplished what was taught. So this is how Lama Tsongkhapa himself has practiced. And you are a liberation seeker. In other words, you who are reading this text, who are receiving teachings on it, you who only want to experience happiness and want to be freed of suffering, you who wants to only experience happiness that is stable and lasting and never punctuated by a moment of pain or misery, you who seek liberation from suffering, for freedom from suffering, you should do the same. You should strive with great energy, with great strength of mind, with courage. And in this way, with the strength of mind, putting into practice the teachings you are given, your good qualities will grow and bloom. And in no time, your mind will be transformed.
다시 제와 친비게 돈벌제도 시대 지산 제름치 나주행에 냠는 되네 제발 교화소 되네 제고를 소야디 제름치 나야지 온인이 지네 신생 나야 해야다 교화소 되네 제고를 까당와다 되네 가야 말해서 지산 제름치게 갈선 두수수 중에 냠는 두수 제바인 되네 제바이나 야게 줘야 되네 두 냠녀 되네 용수가랑 냠녀 되네 용수어서야 돼 하는 교화소이네 that지게 누가들아 타고 교화소가 찾아 디기 주고 동안 타고 그래 진짜 동안 타나 아산비게 야 말로말야 아니 닝제 잠재기 토네 한 잠재기에 안 동안 타고 잠재인자 한 두수 진양면제 두수시나니 두수냐 야겨 줘야도 되네 제고를 해서 봐 잠재기 토네도 숨와래지.
Commentary continues from Sonam Gyatso. Gyatso Rinpoche gave this advice purely out of great compassion and not because he wanted his students to honor or to glorify him. In other words, Gyatso Rinpoche shared this advice not because of in a sense of his own self-importance or to receive anything in return, but rather with the minds infused with love and compassion, wisdom and skill. He shared his experience, how he practiced, and how he practiced is precisely in accordance with how all the preceding great masters, they too had practiced, and those that follow Gyatso Rinpoche have done so as well. So Gyatso Rinpoche has shared here, Lama Tsongkhapa has shared here, is his own experience. And with love and compassion and wisdom and skill, he's sharing it with his students. This way of training has transformed my life. It will transform yours as well. Therefore, my heartfelt wish to you, my students, is please train in the same way. That brings us then to an end of this section in the text, that of relying on the spiritual teacher. And now we start on the next, the human situation, or more usually called that of the precious human rebirth, which is marked by freedoms and opportunities. So this is now a new section, and a section of great importance.
지게 코르 동아데 다데바동 동아자자 용구도 제가 코르 동아데라 마탄나 탑민도 코르 동아데 탈고도 선비게 삼마다야다 니네 코르 동아데레 탈비게 탈바세 톱구도 선비게 삼마사다제 근데 랑세 지게 현세 심전 탐제레 지자 심전 탐제가 랑 대화되바나신 건조 대화되고 심전 탐제 동아 미도바 찍바레 되네 인자 심전 탐제 대화데 되나 삼바다 심전 동아다 자와쇼 선비게 잠제 삼다 되네 심전 탐제게 된다려야 Dunga Dawa Digi Ruye Chedo, and some Japan Sanyokoban Tora Jins and Begeda, Janju Simbro some died, Dene in Zadangi, Sanyokoban Tovala, and then I train Yamlin Chelia, give Shin in the Awu, Tianja, and give Shin Lia, and the Kuson Tuki and Denti part, some diata, and the give Shin Yi, and Jig, sort of choose of getting Jesso, getting Jia. Give Lia and Kuan Tavi, some of the Kunatang Mays and some Taya. Dene and the give Lia Kusun to you and then the Gete, could you give you social church, son shaping, getting the Gete, and the Yal, the give Lia Depazitu, Jacomiadi, and that give Shin to come now the dinner. Atisha and the names and the new come there, that Hamalia Kewarushtigan, Kewatia, and Semja Tamji to the San Yoko. Murdo Tobadan, Semjatam Jason Yokoban to be Chirdu, and Moagadi, and the Chagor Dire.
So, as we continue through this, the Lam Rim Text, or we could call it a meditation manual, as we go from one meditation to the next, we're now come to the conclusion of the meditations on the spiritual teacher. And next time we'll start with a new set of meditations. So hopefully over these previous weeks, through doing this meditation each day, some good familiarity, stable familiarity with this topic will have already come. So just to remind you of the meditation then briefly, and start with the meditation by reminding oneself of the situation of all ordinary beings like ourselves. All ordinary beings who remain bound in samsara. Within samsara, or as long as one has minds of samsaric minds, one will find no stable or lasting happiness. There's not a moment of true happiness to be found. All happiness within samsara is contaminated. The only thing worthy of striving for is liberation from samsara, is freedom from samsara. Because nowhere within samsara is a longed for happiness, a longed for peace to be found. And that's the first step of the meditation. And the second, having meditated about our own experience, so that a strong revulsion for samsara based on our own experience arises, we take this and we relate it to others. And we remind ourselves that this is the situation of each and every other sentient being. Just like me, they too long for freedom, they long for mental peace, they long to be undisturbed by sorrow and pain and misery. But they remain bound within samsara, lost and confused. We reflect like this ever more deeply, until from the depths within, love and compassion for all beings without exception arise. And then thirdly, we come to this particular topic we've been looking at for the last number of weeks. In order to fulfill a heartfelt wish, those results of love and compassion, and that is to become a Buddha for the sake of others, so that we can guide each being in accordance with their own personality, so that they can achieve their own liberation and enlightenment. I need to rely on a teacher. And then we engage in the meditation, as we heard right at the start of the class, with the 5 steps of reflecting on the benefits of relying on a teacher and the faults of not doing so. That our teacher is an emanation of the Buddha, does not possess faults, and when they appear to us, this is a mere reflection of our own negativities still to be purified, and to use this as skillful means to purify our own mind. And then thirdly, to reflect on the many great qualities of our teacher, and whether in terms of his body, speech, and mind, or in terms of his high trainings of ethics and concentration and wisdom, leading to strong faith in one's teacher, faith based on knowledge and reason. And then the 4th step of the meditation was to reflect on the great kindness of our teacher, that it's only through his kindness and endeavors that he skillfully led us to achieve all the qualities that we already have. And this then leads to the culmination of the minds of respect and humility. That's the 4th step, and the 5th and final step is to dedicate this vast store of merit that has been accumulated to the attainment of full and complete enlightenment, the state of perfection for each and every suffering being.
Dene dangzo da zamlin nalia simchen tami mida simchen ne na za mangu yor chisa dine za ne ba kan shin na chasa ne le nyur do ta da ne menje de ke yam lam re yabo yong an zamlin lia an shi de yong ge yong ta an la ba do ngan zui ge da Atisha ki cheso ge da ji ke lia ga de ke kan shu be ne jawa lam re yabo yong ta dene ge lia ge tingge lia ga 직 발치에게 세제 튕긴데게 야고야게 된다래야 당한 저기 기린 개와 40에 개와 대다 아니 지준 저말이야 소와 제지도 뎁제 저기 당한 저기나 라브 최제야라 바시세야게 된다 디네자 지준 저말 소와 지제 정말 살직 된샤바나 저기도 뒤서로 제자 정말 사실 그냥 차상기도 된샤바나 야고야라.
So then we'll conclude for tonight here. But before we go, then I just want you to generate a particular motivation, reflecting briefly that about all the suffering that beings are experiencing throughout this world, whether those who are suffering from a tremendous illness, perhaps with a diagnosis of their imminent death, those who are in great pain, whether physical or mental, those who are suffering from abuse, those who are suffering from conflict, whether it's in the home or between communities. And moreover, reflect that, on the other hand, there are many beings and communities who are trying to transform the situation for beings and improve the situation for individuals and for the world as a whole. And we can include within that our very Dharma Center here, Atisha Center. And for all the problems and difficulties and sufferings that we are all experiencing, as well as for all good qualities to be achieved, negativities or negative karma needs to be purified and good virtuous karma needs to be accumulated. So with such an understanding and such a motivation, then let's just take a few minutes now at the conclusion, when we also dedicate, to recite the praises to the 21 taras in order to accumulate merit and in order to purify negativities. So it's a little late, so we'll just do the recitation once tonight, and as well as the dedications.